Hey everybody, Reaper here again with another discussion video. This time I wanted to talk a little bit about what keeps you in the hobby, okay? We've talked about what we dislike about the hobby. We've talked about a bunch of different things. I'm interested in hearing some things in the comments and what you think about some of the points that I'm going to make in this video. But the topic is what keeps you in the hobby. Well, I'll start by saying, eventually, of course, I'm going to get to what keeps me in the hobby. But I'll start by saying what I've heard some people say. Some in videos, speaking to them in comments and all that stuff. Some, from what I'm told, they like to hunt. They like hunting for these books. I like the idea of going through a long box and maybe encountering that one book that I really want, or going to a flea market or an auction or something. I don't know if an auction, estate sale, something like that, where I run into a book that, wow, I really, really wanted. And that is what keeps me coming back to this hobby. I've heard that. I've heard that many times. That's not what keeps me in the hobby. I'm not a person that likes to sit there and go through the long box. I just don't like it. I don't have the patience for it. I'm not a person that goes to estate sales or auctions. It's just not my thing. So that's something that, although I understand a lot of people, that's what keeps them in the hobby, it's not something that keeps me in the hobby. All right? What keeps me in the hobby, one of the things, there are many things. It's not just the sole be-all, end-all thing that keeps me in the hobby. What keeps me in the hobby is a very simple thing. I enjoy looking at what I purchased. And it doesn't necessarily mean I have to open it up. Ever since I first started collecting years ago, whenever I buy a book, I enjoy just looking at the cover. I enjoyed looking at what it is, whether it's the artwork, first appearance of somebody, the value of it. All of those things work in concert to my joy of having that particular book. And that's what keeps me in this hobby. I enjoy having those things. I enjoy opening up one of these boxes, these short boxes I have, and pull out a bunch of X-Men books. As you know, if you watch my channel, I'm very proud of my X-Men collection, just as I'm very proud of my Tales from the Crypt collection. It took me years to complete, and I have a decent grade. But regardless, whether it's low grade, mid grade, or high grade, some of us just love looking at these things in our own unique way. Just staring at them, putting them on the floors, displaying them, all of those sort of things. There's something about this hobby that makes us want to do that. And that's one of the reasons why, I'm still in this hobby. Despite all the problems that people talk about, the prices, the grading, finding books, all that stuff. That's why I'm still here. The second reason why I am still in this hobby is because I enjoy upgrading. That's, it's always pleasurable to get a brand new book that you've always wanted. Like, getting The Amazing Fantasy or getting Crime Patrol or something that you've always wanted that you thought that you would never get, or it took you a long time to get money-wise, or it took you a long time to find. Any one of those combinations and then some. But that's true. But there's something about upgrading that's really joyful. Buying that same book again, this time in a much better grade, because you're maybe more financially well off than you were when you first bought that original copy you had, or something, or some variation of that. I can't tell you how much I love upgrading. I upgraded a lot of my EC books, and I have upgraded other books too. And it truly is a pleasurable experience. One that keeps me focused, one that keeps me interested, and one that keeps me in the hobby. I love it. I used to make videos called Comic Book Upgrades. I made those videos because that's how much I love upgrading. It's just really something cool. Instead of just throwing them in a regular comic book haul, which I would do anyway, I even dedicated a series to doing that, to upgrading. And it's something that's a lot of fun. And maybe some of you would agree. It is a lot of fun to go from maybe that 1.8 to a 3.0, or from that 4.0 to 5.0, and so forth. I've done that with countless books. When I first started collecting, I had a bunch of really low grades, and there's nothing wrong with having a bunch of low grades. But, I guess I could say I wanted a little bit more than that. Some people don't, for whatever reason, but I did. And when I was finally able to, you know, upgrade those X-Men books, all of them were very low grade, like the first Sentinels, first Banshee, first Sauron, first Alex Summers, first Havoc, first Stranger, first X-Men. And finally be able to bring a higher grade copy, or higher grade copy, not high grade copy, but a higher grade copy into the collection. That was something really cool and made me want to start picking at other things like Spider-Man and all these other things. And it's kept me interested and focused, like I said. The last thing, and there's probably many different things that I'm just not thinking about. That's usually the case with me. I write down a couple of things and then I forget all about some of the other things that kept me in the hobby. And it's usually when I read the comments, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the same for me. Maybe that'll be the same thing for this video. But the last thing that I have written down is another thing that keeps me in the hobby is making videos. I enjoy making videos, whether a lot of people watch them or not. I enjoy talking about this hobby. I think despite sometimes the complaints that we may have about social media and YouTube, and as it relates to things of the world or as it relates to our hobby, there's still a lot of good that has come out of it. It has given us a chance to connect with some other people, and has given us a chance to talk at length about the hobby that we enjoy. It's not just about the money, although money is definitely ingrained with this hobby. We like what these things are worth. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. But I think it's more than that, right? For you, for me, we like talking about it. We like talking about how we were finally able to get that X-Men #1, or we're finally able to get that first appearance of Venom, or we're finally able to get whatever. It's not just something that, even though this is what happens to them, we put them in boxes and then they're stored away. Yeah, we do that. But there's a story behind them. And every time we go through that box where we put that comic and other comics, we go through that box and we pull out that book and that story comes to life again. It's more than the story that's between the pages of that comic, between the cover and the back cover. It's a lot more than that. It's the story that we have buying it, and we're able to share those things on social media, whether it's through Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. And when I came back to the hobby in 2013, 2014, it was in 2014 when I started making videos. I came out with a bunch of videos that are no longer available online. One of them was my hunt for X-Men #1. Yeah, that was one of the first videos I made, how I was determined to get an X-Men #1, and I would talk about X-Men #1. I would talk about why it was important to me, and I would show off my coverless copy that I sold a few years ago. I wish I didn't sell it, but I sold I would show off my coverless copy that I bought back in 1993. Despite being low grade, despite being coverless, it was still very important in that it was the first appearance of the X-Men and Magneto. And how I just wanted, like I said a few moments ago, I wanted a little bit more. So I decided to go on this hunt to get X-Men #1. And I made a few videos about that. And I did get the X-Men #1. This was pre-Comic Book Haul #1. And I showed it off. I did the unboxing. I opened up the Gemini mailer and pulled it out and unveiled X-Men #1. My hunt finally had come to an end. I got one of my big goals. The point is, I was able to share that on YouTube, and it made it more enjoyable. It was enjoyable to get, but just being able to talk about it made it more enjoyable. And like some other little minor things are enjoyable about on YouTube. I remember when me and my wife, we were going to have my son. She was pregnant. I first revealed that in a comic book haul. I mean, it was revealed obviously to our family beforehand. I didn't wait to reveal it on a comic book haul, but even talking about comics, I wove in the fact that I was expecting a little one just it added to the joy of making videos and being in the hobby, and maybe introducing a new member of the family that may or may not follow my footsteps into the hobby. I believe I first mentioned James as being expected in Comic Book Haul number 10. And he didn't make his first appearance on videos until that made a video called Herc Collects Comics Contest, which was in 2016 or March or something like that, 2016. That's when he made his first appearance. And he made a couple other appearances shortly after and throughout the years. All on video, all on YouTube. So the hobby, interest, talking about all these different things, how it intertwines with our personal lives, my personal life, it's been, it kept me very interested in the hobby, and it's kept it alive and well. So what about you? Tell me a little bit about you now. You've heard my story, my opinions on this. What keeps you in this hobby? Take care, everyone, and be safe.